Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm really happy that you're here. And this is the third and final installment of the videos on astrology and going to see an astrologer, what makes a good astrologer. And in this video, I'm discussing how you can prepare yourself before the appointment and how you can frame things post-appointment. So before you go to the appointment, I would just let you know that you don't need to believe everything that you hear. You don't need to believe anything that you hear, and that you are under your full rights. And I would say it's even correct to take what you want and leave the rest behind. And that essentially what matters the most is listening to whatever is inside and not based on what someone outside, even if it's your chart and your information, what someone outside of you is telling you. The second thing is I would review the questions that you sent in to the astrologer. So if it was you're doing a natal reading, but then they asked you for 3 areas of focus. I would just go back and review the information that you sent them, so just so you can jog your memory and go in. That way you might have more specific questions, or you might be prepared for more specific follow-up rather than just going in and being reminded within the appointment in and of itself the things that you wanted to talk about. The third thing is, it's okay if you forget a majority of things from your appointment, meaning if you're in the appointment or not forget, but you just don't 10 minutes went by and you were just not really paying attention, or you were just kind of stuck on the first thing that she said and not really paying attention. There will be a recording usually of your session, so you can always go back and visit it how many ever times you need to. And if it's not explicit, if it's not discussed in the website, or if it wasn't told to you that it will be recorded, I would go ahead and ask the astrologer. And then fourth, I would say even though it's not therapy, unless I guess you go to an LPC, but at least in my experience, it was never a licensed professional. It is whether or not you think these systems are spiritual, it is kind of something where we're looking at the larger sense of self. We're looking at the larger connection. We're looking at the connection between, who we are on a day-to-day basis and the larger sense of connection with everyone else. And so it can give you kind of that spiritual kind of sense, right? And so it can be really, when someone is telling you these things, and especially if you recognize yourself in what's being said, it can be really all of a sudden you're going to start, and you resonate with the astrologer, and you kind of form a good bond. You start trusting this person, right? And so it can be a very therapeutic thing to go to these sessions with these astrologers. I mean, I've been doing this for years and years now, and even though I'm just I don't give myself over to the predictions and whatnot, there are certain things in my chart where I don't really want to accept that are there, but they are there. And and it's not about the belief of whether or not they're coming true or whatever it is. It's the fact that it's a very sensitive thing. It can be a very sensitive thing. And so there's no reason to not feel like it is a therapeutic space. and it just kind of gets more into your, your soul fabric than maybe you thought it would. And that's okay. So things like crying and whatever is fine, because I would say every single astrologer sees it, hears it, and can hold space for you during that time. And then post-visit, I would like take it easy. I wouldn't immediately, like, it can just be like a lot, especially since these sessions can go over like by 10 minutes or something. It can be a lot. It can be a lot to think about. It can be a lot to just kind of digest. Typically what I do is I just get up, like, if it's, like a Zoom call or something, which all of mine have been actually, and I just go do something completely different, like I'll go call a friend, I'll go watch like stupid videos, I'll go make drink or go eat something, move my body, listen to some music. Like I don't sit in that space that I just had the appointment in. I just kind of detach myself from it. And then later on, after doing that, I'll come back and I'll journal thoughts that I had. So I remember the points before I forget them. So, and actually with the recordings, I've actually never gone back to hear a recording. So I don't necessarily know why. It's almost like, I don't know why I haven't. And know that it's all trial and error. Like, this is just one modality out of so many that exist, out of so many that are going to exist. And at some point, they say, I've heard from like Vedic astrologers and just people in that realm that, I don't think in this yuga, not in the Kali Yuga, or the Dwapara Yuga, I might be pronouncing that incorrectly. That might be when it happens, but astrology at some point is going to be completely moot because we're going to be at a different level of vibration or consciousness that doesn't even require these kinds of systems at all. And so that could, that's something to keep in mind. If that's something you want to keep in mind, I don't know. And again, just like take what you want, leave the rest. And also it's like, it's a man-made system, quite literally. So like, I would walk away with this knowing that it was something that was meant to happen. And I don't mean like in terms of what was read in the chart, but like maybe you needed to meet that person who was the astrologer. Maybe along the entire process, there was something that you discovered about yourself that, you're like, I'm totally not into this stuff, or I'm totally into this stuff and I want to study it, or I just have, now I have more questions, or whatever it is. So it's like keeping your mind open to maybe something else that you needed to learn during this time. So I'm gonna end this part of the astrology stuff. I hope at one point to have some of my former I hope to have current astrologers who are also people that I learned from come on here so we can discuss these things and we can hear directly from them just some of these questions that a lot of people don't really articulate, or just haven't really dived very deeply into. A lot of the astrology channels like dive into the technicalities or the history or, you know, the differences between systems, things like that, which is all very good. But like, I think kind of these more, what would you say, like contextual questions, I guess, I don't really hear about. Or like, you know, kind of the questions like, you know, why is everyone so scared of astrology? Like, you know, that kind of thing. So, and, you know, it's interesting. I do want to say this and then I'll end, which is that I recently, you know, I'm making all these videos about astrology, and I've just never been able to get past a certain point, which is usually past the foundations class. I just cannot push through. I cannot, like, I've had friends who know that I've been hopping around astrologer, like taking different classes, like knowing the basics and the foundations, but never really wanting to read a chart, never really wanting to delve down that path, because in the back of my mind, the whole, like, this is man-made, like, I don't, and astrology is the prediction. That's where it is. And it's like, again, it's not like this, like, oh, I can tell the future kind of prediction, just like based on a psychic ability. But again, it's on the patterns, right? And it's like, well, what if the people that created these patterns or saw these patterns are wrong? And also, like, there's no need for this, because this was done at a time when, you know, the math had to, you know, like, where they kind of, like, none of the math was automated. We didn't get to share information the way we want. They had to rely on their whatever form of technology, you know, whether it was just numbers in a you know, feather pen or whatever it was that they noticed, or they had to wait the entire year to look at patterns, or the oral tradition from generation to generation. It's not wrong. It's just that we have much better ways of looking at pattern, of looking at human capability, right? Like, this is always mentioned as the 4-minute mile. It's like, I don't want to crush anyone's capability of doing the 4-minute mile metaphor, you know? And so I think that's what chart reading does, is that it doesn't put into every single person the belief that anything and everything is possible. And that is absolutely what I believe. What's interesting is that there are a couple of things that, like, you know, some goals, right? Like, I'm in my, you know, later mid-40s, but like towards the end of my mid-40s. And, you know, there are like 3 goals. And these are 3 goals that I've been, like, there are reasons why I haven't really got, like, honed in on them, but now I'm ready to. And I think from what I remember in my chart readings, like, it's just going to be very difficult, or it may not happen, or it may not happen the traditional way, like all these things. And I keep saying that I don't believe in the systems. And just the last few days, I wrote the most recent astrologers that I've studied with, and the people that I keep in contact with the most. And I just got off a dating app. I gave up these other career goals I thought I was like forcing myself into, and just like family things and social things. And I'm just like, oh my God, okay. You know, these last couple of weeks have just been like really, really hard. And I was like, okay, you know, I've just been like really angry and really like in that victim space. And and just so upset that I just couldn't do the things in life that it seemed like so many people can. And I don't mean like extraordinary things or like, you know, like having extraordinary talent. It's just like the day-to-day things, like, you know, of what people want. And it's just not happening for me. And it's how I was thinking. And I was like, I'm just going to give up. You know, and part of it is like really surrendering to universe or God or the larger beneficence. I'm just focusing on the things that I can control. And I wrote to these astrologers just in the last couple of days, and I was like, I give up. Astrology wins. Y'all are all right. Are you happy? Like that kind of thing. And one of them wrote back and he was just like, whoa, you know, I would never take that. He was like, desire within you, your desire has a lot of influence over what you want. He was like, and I would never take that away from you, like meaning like my chart or the reading. And I was like, I don't care, I give up. And he was just like, it's not about, he was like, no one wins, no one has a bad chart, astrology doesn't win. And he just kind of left it, and I was like, I don't care, I give up, it doesn't matter, you know, but I still want you to be on my YouTube channel for an interview. And then I wrote this other woman who's like opposite end of the world, also does Vedic, she's Western, has no religious attachment to Vedic astrology. And I told her, I was just like, I just want to let you know astrology wins, and I'm totally giving up on anything I want in life, and I'm just gonna live like this existence that is making me miserable. And I'm like, I hope astrology is happy, you know? And she was just like, whoa, okay, sounds like you've had a full week. And yeah, so it's like, if I'm not like a gullible person, but I believe in the larger sense. Like I've said, I felt like I've always had one foot out in, you know, beyond the veil. And I've had experiences, not a lot, like a couple, but very profound ones where I was just like, and I wasn't looking for them, where I was just like, if we're all made of the same stuff, like this connection or these moments of beyond the veil moments, or whatever we call it, like quantum field moments now that maybe some people are calling it, it's real. You know, I know it's real, and it's not a mystical thing, or it's not only for saints or, you know, the 1-800 psychic hotline to experience it. It's for everyone. But I just never thought that everyone included me. So I just kind of ignored it. I never really talked about it, or I don't really talk about it. I told some people, but I hold it close to the chest because I know that it's true. I know those experiences happened. And in fact, one of them happened with someone else, and she looked terrified. And I was just like, I am so happy someone else is here, because then I wouldn't have believed it, right? Like if it was just me, because anyways, maybe that'll be story time for another day. But yeah, so like, you know, the power of suggestion is strong. And I think because I kind of believe in that stuff anyway, you know, and I still don't, like inside of me, I still don't believe in predictions, you know, or someone else predicting something, even if it's on your chart. I still don't believe that that's in stone. And also there are so many different instances of astrologers telling people they're going to get married at this point, and they're like, if that doesn't happen, okay, then you go back and they say, okay, now they're going to get married in 5 years, now they're going to get married. And or they say you shouldn't marry this person. And I've read about people who are like, yeah, I was told I shouldn't marry my husband and I married him, And they said it was going to be huge tragedies, that it's going to blow up in 2 years. And here we are 13 years later with 3 kids and we're fine. So I know that for a fact, you know, but I think like when I'm in my moments of like frustration or things that have always been hard for me continue to be hard for me, and I'm getting older, so grateful to get older, but you know, it's just like those things where I feel like the power of suggestion is like that kind of stays with me, especially when I'm like having more like more down days or something. So anyways, I just wanted to point that out because like in the midst of making all these videos, here I am like, I totally don't believe in it. And then I'm like having a meltdown with these astrologers saying, astrology wins, you win, are you happy? My life is ruined. You know, I'm miserable, because I don't believe that's what astrology is. I don't believe that that's what our universe was built for. You know, I think there are challenges, but I think that, you know, and especially if you've done the work, if you are doing the work, if you've, you know, if you've put in concerted effort to like not change who you are, but become more aligned with who you are and minimizing the pain that we can often cause for ourselves and other people when your habits are very unconscious or addictive, you know, things like that. So, but who knows, right? It remains a mystery. And so anyways, I'm going to see one of the astrologers. We're friends, and you know, she's amazing, and I love the other guy too. And yeah, I'll keep you guys apprised of it, but I think for now I'm just going to table the astrology thing. And these were very long videos. I really need to know how to timestamp. But let me know what you guys think, and I look forward to hearing from you. And yeah, have a great day, you guys. Bye.